I don't think people realise how important this work is. I mean, I wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't really, if you didn't have the potential to make a difference. And I think that's true of all the staff and all the parents and families here. They do believe it's making a difference. The cost of one child in the care system is something, I think Demos worked out 350,000, something like that, over 14 years. I mean, it's incredibly expensive if children go into care, apart from the human cost, because children rarely recover from that experience. So when you do your maths, you've got to, do you say it's worth doing fabulously intensive preventative work like this, because the cost to society is just so huge if you don't do it?
The proposed cut to Pen Green is of 1.1 million, which is about 56% of our budget. For us, obviously, that would be devastating. To take more than half of your budget means that you are taking staffing, taking services. Some of the provision that would possibly go would be highly intensive work with the family and with the child. We've had many families who have had that level of support where it's been identified additional input is needed, close work with the family, and we know, and we have the evidence to show that actually none of those families have then gone into statutory social services care, and the prognosis for those families when they're first referred to us is that that is a very likely outcome. If that was taken away or diluted, what we actually fear is that the number of families who would then enter the statutory service would be higher.
We went to the cemetery and there was a young woman who was, she could have been using any of the 4 children's centres in Corby, but actually she had 2 young babies, 2 young children, and she was going to the cemetery because in the cemetery was her dead baby and her brother who'd hung himself, and he'd been a nursery child. So, I mean, that's where she was spending her time. So all these wonderful buildings and all these amazing paraphernalia at Children's Services were not reaching families like that. We failed that parent once when she was a child. We can't fail her. Sorry, I just find it so emotional. We can't fail her again. I'm just so frightened they're going to cut our bloody services. Sorry. But they could. When I came to this community, all the statistics were that Corby was in a hopeless place. It was a place without hope. Pen Green's been part of making something of Corby, and it's been amazing to see the regeneration of the town in the last 27 years. It's not just about the children that we've prevented from going into care and the enormous costs of going into care, but it's the cost of not providing a service like this would be children continuing to be factory fodder, continuing to be in no-hope jobs, instead of which these are children who are good citizens, actively involved in supporting others within their community. If you truly harness a community's energy for doing a project like this, then you will get amazing returns that you could never have envisaged. They big up localism and they big up big society, but actually the big society is here in Corby. People are prepared to give and support other people. If people care about services, they will fight for those services, and so they should.